Welcome to the Mayor Minutes Podcast. I'm Joanna Mouton, Mayor of Wayzata, Minnesota, and your host. Tune in each month as we get to the heart and soul of the people who serve the city and the community. Today, I want to welcome Police Chief Marc Schultz to the podcast. After 5 years of leadership and providing immeasurable value to the Wayzata and Long Lake communities, Wayzata Police Chief Marc Schultz will be retiring this month. Welcome, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor. It's good to be here. It's kind of crazy that it's been that long, but it's coming to an end.
I know. You've been a guest here at least once before.
Once before, I think, yeah.
And this is a celebration. This is the cherry on the cake, so to speak.
Yeah, the bookend podcast. I think I did one when I started, and or at least maybe in the Chief's position. And now I'm leaving.
I know.
Crazy.
Well, let's talk a little bit about, we're going to ask lots of questions about your career. But what got you started in law enforcement? What was that motivating factor that made you decide this was the career for you?
Yeah, well, I'm still trying to figure that out, I guess. A lot of people when they in this field, when they grow up, they have aspirations to be a police officer, deputy sheriff, or something. I never really had an idea of what I wanted to be, and so I went to college, tried out a few different majors. And ultimately landed in College of Natural Resources. I was going to be a biologist, and I, went through that whole program, graduated, and I realized my wife probably didn't want to move up to Ely, and I wasn't going to make a lot of money. So what can I do to fix that? And I got into law enforcement because it would allow me to spend time outside, and do something different every day, not in an office.
Yeah.
So here I am.
Well, yeah, career 2.0. You never know.
Yeah. I never...
You put that undergrad degree to different use.
Or just a hobby,
for sure.
I still enjoy spending time outdoors, but after having 3 kids in hockey, my falls were pretty much taken up by hockey, and so I've graduated from the deer stand to the hockey arena stands.
Nice.
And so who knows? But maybe I'll get back into fishing, or take up maybe nature photography or something. I don't know.
Well, you'll have to share those photographs with all of us.
Sure.
Especially of all the fish you'll be catching now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, knock on wood.
So when you think back on your career, how many years total?
Just under 27. So I started with Roseville in July of 98. I had spent a few years with the Federal Protective Service before that as a contract security guard at the federal courthouse. And,
okay.
So a few extra years in law enforcement, but not according to para.
Sure.
The career's been beyond rewarding. I've been thinking a lot about it lately, and there's just so many things that pop into my head when I think about the good old days, and changing career paths from Roseville to Wayzata was just such a great decision, and I'm lucky to be here. So,
that's fantastic. Well, we've been so lucky to have you. So you think about your career, 27 years. In several capacities in law enforcement. When you think back of all of the experiences, there's going to be kind of a multi-part question. What do you think is your proudest moment?
I would say, every police officer has that goal to be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
Right, just doing our jobs, catch the bank robber or the homicide suspect or something like that. And I've had an opportunity to revel in those successes a few times, but a lot of the things that I remember deal with, like the cumulative accomplishments, like receiving a recognition from the SWAT team. When I was in Roseville, I was part of the East Metro SWAT team, spent several years on that team, and had the joy of being recognized one night at my surprise.
Is it recognition for a specific event or your service on that team?
No, I was on the team for like 13 years total.
Okay.
In different roles. And when I finally announced my retirement from the team,
Yeah.
apparently that was a big enough number for them to do something special. So that was great.
Nice.
It was being recognized by my peers, and that made me very proud. And then I would say another cumulative accomplishment, I guess I would say, would be to have the opportunity to step into a leadership role here in Wayzata. Several leadership roles, leadership opportunities over the years, but nothing to the extent of deputy chief or chief of police. And that was a whole new challenge for me. But yet it was a challenge that came with an opportunity to do a lot of good too, and a lot of things that maybe I thought or others thought could be changed, and steps in the right direction, so to speak. And so it was really a different aspect of my career, and cumulatively, I would say that having that leadership role was probably the highlight of my career.
Oh, that's great. Biggest challenges? I mean, policing has changed over 27 years, obviously.
Yeah.
And you've been, as you mentioned, in a number of different roles and in different capacities. What would you say have been the biggest challenges in terms of for yourself personally, but maybe also for policing in general?
Well, with all the different shifts in law enforcement, the alarm clock was a challenge. No. I would say some of the, obviously coming into this role in Wayzata was around 2019 when I stepped into my role as deputy chief here. And up until that point in my career, law enforcement had changed, but not to the extent that it was about to change.
Yeah.
With the advent of COVID, everything we saw regarding that, it changed how we did our day-to-day jobs. It changed how we looked at everything, every single thing, related to what we did. Not only that, but then you had to, sort of look at protecting the public in a whole new light with a whole new set of glasses. Not far after that was tons of civil unrest that we dealt with, and in my entire career, I've never dealt with curfews or having the public. I remember driving down the streets of Wayzata and only seeing fire engines and cop cars.
Yeah.
Because everybody was in their homes waiting for the bad thing to happen, or the unknown to happen. And thank goodness it didn't happen here. But I also remember driving into work every morning and looking off in the distance at Minneapolis and seeing the flames and the smoke, and knowing that could be us today. And so that was certainly a challenge that nobody expected, but everybody just dealt with it. And between the planning, the preparation, the mitigation, the networking, the meetings,
a lot of meetings.
Yeah. And just everybody was in the same boat.
Yep.
And nobody really knew how to get through it, but we knew we were going to get through it together, and we did. And so everything else sort of pales in comparison, I guess, when you look at that. But I also think, again, cumulatively, leadership was a challenge. Taking this role, as I said, was a new step for me, and I learned quickly that I had to figure out what my leadership style was inherently, and just try to figure out how I could best utilize that to bring the change and success that I wanted to bring to this department, and then also try to stay on top of sort of like read the room.
Right.
What do I need to do to keep us moving in the right direction, and what do my officers want from a leader, and what do they need from a leader, and try to bring that. And luckily, I think we were sort of on the same page
Yeah.
when I had to when I was faced with that decision, and I couldn't be luckier to have the group of people to work with that I do, and I feel very blessed to have had that opportunity. So.
Well, it speaks volumes of the leadership that you bring. There are bosses and there are leaders, and
Mhm.
we all come into our own when we take on these roles. And you talked about the civil unrest and the challenges that posed. And then you throw in, you've got a new mayor and they have questions. And so you probably had just a ton of stuff on your plate, and you always handled that with such grace and poise and wonderful information. And you definitely kept us safe. And for that, I'm forever grateful, because I can't even imagine being in your shoes. I know that being in my shoes, it was jarring,
Hmm.
to say the least, of suddenly feeling this. I don't know if pressure is the right word, but it certainly felt like it at the time. Looking back, it didn't. I don't know that I would use the same word, but in the moment, it was stressful. Just
For
suddenly,
sure.
you don't know what's going to happen, and you feel this responsibility for an entire community. And are you making the right decision? Are you making the right call? So I can certainly appreciate, or have a sense of what maybe you were going through. What about your family through all of this? How did they help support you, and how did they deal with the challenges and the stresses that go with a career in a dangerous job?
You know, the only thing I can tell you is they've been so supportive my entire career. Early on in my career, I had like a lot of cops, I had some challenges in field training and some hurdles I had to get over. And, I remember late night conversations with my wife about, am I doing the right thing? Is this what I really am meant to do?
Yeah.
And she was so encouraging and, just compassionate. And she didn't try to take the pain away, but she was just there to let me know that, hey, I hear you. And that's really been her role through my entire career, is I'm just here.
Yeah.
And, and that's carried into my family. We've had some calls, some cases, some incidents that I guess I'll never forget, but sometimes people would maybe rather forget. And they've been just so supportive and understanding. I remember times where I would come home and I would not be in a good mood. I would not be rational in most cases, like
Sure.
just the way things play with your mind, and, just not in a good space. And they gave me my space and just took a step back and said, what do you need? And let us help. And, to have that support network, I don't think I could have made it through the 27 years or 26 and a half years that I did without them.
Yeah. Through 27 years in public safety, one of the changes a substantive change that I saw that you brought was the checkup from the neck up, and the importance of mental health for first responders. Can you talk a little bit about that program, what it means to you, what it means to the department, and how you've seen that evolve? The notion of, mental health being such an integral part, an important integral part of really caring for the whole self, and especially in such a stressful profession.
Yeah, I've it's been around for quite some time. The term checkup from the neck up, and whatever phrase you want to coin, mental health check-ins has been around for quite some time. It's just a lot of departments, including ours, hadn't had the opportunity or taken the measures to adopt it and to fully implement it. And part of that is because it's expensive. Part of it is I always joke with we had a departmental meeting and invited our therapist to come and introduce himself. And, I said to the troops, I said, therapy is a lot like dating. You have to really have a good fit with the person that you're going to sit with.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to be comfortable. And so that's been a challenge too, is finding the right person to fill that role. And I really think we've really filled that void. Why is it important? Because, this job inherently takes piece by piece a little bit from you each day.
Mm-hmm.
And it might not be just one case. It might not just be one incident or one call for service or one accident or one, I could go on and on.
Yeah.
But it's a day in and day out, the stressors, trying to get to the right place at the right time, the location, everything about this job can be stressful. And if you don't take care of yourself throughout that whole process, it tends to pile on. And, I'll be the first to tell you that at one point in my career, I felt I was immune to it,
Sure.
emotional survival for law enforcement. Who's this Kevin Gilmartin guy? I don't need to know this stuff. And, after a few years, a former chief of mine, on his way out the door, said, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. No, seriously. Take care of yourself. Yeah. And I didn't understand at the time what he was talking about or why he was so adamant about that. But that's something that I will make sure that it's passed on to our officers, is take care of yourself. Because if you can't take care of yourself, you really can't take care of others, even those that are most important to you. So it's very important to learn that early on in your career is huge. So that's why we're implementing, as part of our wellness program, we do have mental health check-ins now mandatory for all of our officers. We've got peer counselors on staff that are officers.
Mm-hmm.
We've got mentors set up for our new trainees in field training that they can go to, that aren't going to be judging them or grading them or anything like that, just listening to them.
Sure.
So I guess we've kind of graduated into making it kind of a holistic program, and it's due.
That's wonderful. So, on a lighter note,
Sure.
we all have that funniest moment. Just a call, an event at work. Do you have any of those? We must have one.
There's so many funny moments. I was just talking with Deputy Chief Baker about this today, but so many that I can't say on a podcast as well.
Those are the ones we want to hear.
Cops are people, and things humor us and stuff. And, honestly, cops try to make light of a lot of things. You might, if you've ever watched a cop show, not that they're true to, realistic or anything like that, but a lot of them kind of focus on humor anyhow. But, one of the funniest, I got to meet Vern Troyer, better known as Mini-Me.
Okay.
Got a picture with him. I have a picture. I used to keep a scrapbook,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a picture of a single car rollover accident. Not funny.
No.
But it was in the drive-through of a Taco Bell. So tell me how that happens, right?
I was super hungry.
I was just like,
For a crunchy gordita
how
or
did
something.
a car roll over in Taco Bell drive-through?
Any answer to that?
So you'd have to know the location, but
Okay.
there was a little bit of a hill next to it, and it rolled down the hill.
Oh, wow.
Into the drive-through.
Into the drive-through.
Again, not funny, but for me, it's stuck out as a memory. There's been tons of conferences like that, we go to as police officers and try to, there's social time and whatnot, and we try to make light of things whenever we can and make fun of each other. But, I just, I guess a lot of the funny things I'm not going to share with you today, Mayor, because one, you wouldn't understand it, and two,
Okay.
it's probably not appropriate for this
There you go.
podcast. So
Okay, it'll be for a different day. Okay.
yeah, right.
Make a list,
There you
and
go.
yes,
I wish I would have written a book.
Yeah,
I've said that many times.
absolutely. What about our young people who are considering this career, who are maybe just getting started? As you reflect back on your own career, what's worked, what hasn't, what's your advice to them?
Yeah,
Not as their boss, but maybe as a neighbor
sure,
or
sure.
parent.
Keep your friends close, right? Learn to rely on people that you trust, including your coworkers, and then I would say trust your gut, because as a cop, you need to know that your train of thought is usually going to lead you in the right direction, but also keep an open mind. That's again sort of a cumulative oversight type of thought. But I think those are probably two things that'll carry you through your career with some level of success. I would encourage any new person to keep a scrapbook, at least for a little while, to reflect back on, and because you're going to get to a point like where I'm at, and you wish you would have kept more of those things in a scrapbook.
It's a great idea.
And maybe write a book in case the mayor asks you what your funniest experience was. But don't take things too seriously in this job. You can't. I think the most successful people in policing have been able to make light and find the lighter side of policing. Most of the memories that I have are tragic, honestly. It's sad to say, but somehow, some way, we've found a way to connect with each other, and and that helps us remember the good parts, and even of those types of calls that we wish we could forget. But I think if you just remember everybody's human, and you don't have to absorb it all, just let some of it bounce off your back. You'll do fine.
It's a great thing to remember in life in general. We should keep that front of mind, that humanity for other people. And yeah, absolutely.
Nobody's perfect.
So, Wayzata, your stomping grounds for the last 5 years. What would you say? You've had a lot of responsibilities outside of the day-to-day policing.
Sure.
We also have a lot of events where the police department participates quite a bit. Do you have a personal favorite?
Of course I do.
All right, let's hear.
Well, I started in November of 2019 here in Wayzata, and so I was, the new greenhorn. And my first event was, I think it was my first week on the job, was Light Up the Lake.
Okay.
Which, ironically enough, is just coming around the corner here. So
It is.
That, without a doubt, was just an unbelievable welcoming experience to hear about it. It's a parade. We take part in it, and walk down the street, and I was like, oh, great, that sounds fun. And then you get here and you realize you stepped into a Hallmark movie,
Yeah.
And I happen to have my family with me, and my daughter even said that. She's like, Dad, this is like a Hallmark movie. This is beautiful. Snowing.
Yeah.
It's perfect temperature. Everybody was smiling. It was just awesome. And so coincidentally enough, like I said, it's coming right around the corner, paired with my last day in Wayzata, and so I'm happy to have that be my last day.
Yeah.
This community is fantastic. I'm preaching to the choir here, obviously, and the amount of support that the community has in everything that it does, behind the scenes, in front of the scenes. Financial support, everything that they do as a community in both Wayzata and Long Lake have been truly astonishing to me. And a lot of those special events are successful because of how our community participates in them and how much they appreciate all of them, and take ownership in Wayzata and Long Lake. And so while we've got J.J. Hill Days and, Beach Bash and all of these, big memorable times, my favorite is Light Up the Lake.
I think it may be mine too.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm glad we're on the same page. One of the things that that'd probably be I'm going to call it my feather in my cap, is I kept wanting more and more lights and a bigger tree because to me it was the potential to be that quintessential Hallmark moment in movie. And the crowds have just really embraced it.
Yeah.
And it is so wonderful to see so many people of different ages all come together with I like those little light stick things that you guys hand out. That is a lot of fun. But the tree and the caroling, I mean, you can't ask for anything more than that. And so I'd have to agree with you. That's fun.
Horse-drawn carriage, the carolers, the hot cocoa, everything is just awesome. And see the little kids, the smiles on their faces, and it's a great way to kick off the holiday seasons.
It's magical.
Yeah,
it truly is. Well, so you'll be coming to a close here pretty soon. We've got Light Up the Lake, which you will still be here for. What are your plans once you ride off into the sunset, into retirement sunset?
I try to tell everybody that asks me that. They're like, "What are you going to do afterwards?" And my answer that I should have is everything. I want to do everything, right? But I don't have any specific plans right away. So other than taking care of my granddaughter, my beautiful 3-month-old granddaughter.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. So Thursdays are going to be our day, and so I'm looking forward to that and truly connecting with her. But I have a job lined up. I've always said that if I do something after retirement, it's going to be like working at Home Depot or mowing grass at a golf course or, something like that. Whatever comes my way.
Taking
we'll
nature.
See. Yeah.
Taking pictures in nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's plenty of projects around the house, around the cabin, things like that. But, I've got a few things I wouldn't mind diving into for hobbies, and certainly focusing on myself, taking better care of myself, and just trying to live a better life.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
That is just, you've had a wonderful career in an admirable profession. I've really enjoyed getting to know you as a person. What you've brought to the city and to the department has been unmatched. So I thank you for that. I wish you the very, very best, as does the entire community. And I hope you do get to sit back and enjoy and do everything and nothing at the same time.
Yeah, it hasn't hit me yet, even though I'm coming real close to my last day. It hasn't really quite squarely hit me, but it will, I think. And I feel so blessed to have had this opportunity to be here. Having an opportunity to be a chief in and of itself is pretty fantastic. I mean, it's quite an experience. But having that opportunity here in Wayzata, it brings it to a whole nother level. And I know I can say that because I've experienced it. And that's probably going to be the biggest thing that's going to hit me is, how did I step away from that job? How did I decide to move on to the next chapter? And when I was really enjoying, and I have enjoyed my time here. So
yeah, you're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, right. And congratulations to you as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's a beautiful, magical place that it's hard to even express into words. And it's not until people get to experience it for themselves that they can truly understand and appreciate how special a place this is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, great. Well, Marc, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
everything. Thank you for serving us and the community and the council and your leadership. We truly are a better place for having you.
Everybody says thank you for your service, right? And throughout my entire career, that's probably been the hardest thing to respond to. because you really don't know what to say. But it truly has been an honor and a privilege to serve the communities that I've had the chance to serve in the state of Minnesota, and do the right things for the right reason. And I just feel blessed. So thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we wish you the very best and can't wait to see you in retirement. Come back and visit.
Next year for Light Up the Lake.
Absolutely. We'll see you then.
Thank you.